So this is what I'm guessing. A very rare sanitary vacuum. It's the blue line with the wide 16-inch brush roll, and something that I've never seen on any sanitary vacuum, a retractable cord reel, and then the on-off switch on that as well. But the cord reel still works fine. There's no damage on the cord, amazingly enough. And the only unfortunate part about this thing is I have no idea when it was made or what the model number is, because I believe that data plate that's supposed to be right there that had all that information has been completely worn off. So unfortunately I can't determine even who makes this or when it was made, let alone the model number. So I kind of had to wing it when I was buying parts for it. Things like belts and bags I'm not really worried about, but I bought 3 new fan chamber gaskets, and I know for a fact I need to replace one of them on the machine already. So what we're going to do right now is, this bag is the bag that I was given with the machine, and it's been completely cleaned out. I disassembled the whole bag, got the parts right there, so it's ready to go back together. And that's kind of the best way to handle an outer bag on really any vacuum, is just throw it in with your laundry and it comes out looking almost brand new. In fact, I would say that this bag was brand new. Either received it in this condition, or was just looking at this vacuum and it was this clean. I'll go ahead and install these 2 parts. Now we're just going to wire it back on, which is how I received it. These have a normal bit of retaining wire that keeps them in place. I suppose you could use a zip tie, but I don't have any offhand. Actually, a zip tie, mainly the ratcheting part, can actually wear into the cloth. And there we have it. So the bag connector is perfectly fine now. And the safety wire, I actually got this stuff from one of my past jobs. I work on aircraft full time. This is only a hobby, what I do in these videos on this channel and my other channel. But now we can put the bag connector just a hair tighter. This actually has a small crack in it. It's very common on these sanitaires and really any vacuum of this style. They all seem to have this issue where they get a tiny crack on these plastic connectors for the bag. You guys probably aren't able to see it. You can kind of see it a little bit in the light right there. But now we can install a new bag. One thing I do like about these sanitary vacuums, really another thing, is their consumable stuff, like bags and belts. They're not expensive. This 10-pack of bags, I think I paid under $10 for it. And, they're just the standard F&G bags that have the big fill tube on them, but so there's the bag, nice and installed. So now we'll get ready for the next part of this video. Alright, so hopefully the camera doesn't fall down at all, but the next step is to lean the handle all the way back, flip the machine over, and now you have access to the bottom of it. In fact, I'll flip it around for you guys so you can see it better. But these things are very serviceable. I've actually been a fan of these vacuums for a while. That's all there is to it, to removing the belt. Now we can check over the brush roll, which is in really good condition. This is the older Vibra Groomer. That's what Sanitaire calls it. Looks like we got some crap on here. But it's a decent brush roll. I actually like these vacuums quite a bit. I think that they're just made pretty well. And largely speaking, you're not really going to have many issues with these unless you abuse them. But that is true for just about anything. But I'm going to clean this out. I'm going to clean out this. And looks like we need to clean out some of the dirt around there. And then I'll meet you guys back with pulling the top cover off, which all you do for that is you pull these two little clips off. And I'm just going to pull them completely off so I don't lose them. So we just pop this off. Very carefully, don't want to break it. Set it aside. And then get lucky. And it looks like we'll get lucky. This is actually a Torx bolt that's in here. And some of these, you can get really lucky and be able to fit a flathead in. But I do have proper size Torx bits for this. It's a T20. For those of you that were wondering. But grab that off there. And now, lift this up, set it aside. Now, it's pretty dirty in here. Unfortunately, due to the design of these machines, I mean, I suppose I could unwire the motor and kind of clean everything out a little bit better. What we do need is to replace the seals on these, which I do have some foam tape that will work if I cut it to size. You can't buy the foam seals for these. You have to replace them. In fact, I'm going to wash these too because they're really dirty. And then it looks like we have a ground wire here that's not connected to anything. And so I decided, since I'm kind of already here, to pull these 4 screws holding the motor down into the base of the unit, and I'm actually going to pull it completely off of the handle, and we're going to wash this as well. It's really dirty. Might as well. I'm not going to submerge the motor in water. I'm going to do my best to kind of clean that up with a dusting brush and maybe a little bit of alcohol, but I'm not going to submerge that. You can, as long as you let it dry and everything before you try to run it again. But anyways, time to take that handle off and then clean out the base. So here's the fan chamber with that new gasket installed. This one was a lot easier to install. And that is the inherent problem with these, is it's like a foam gasket that's slightly elastic. So you have to be really careful with them. And I just installed a new one on the motor. There's the pieces of the old one. And after wrestling with it for a few minutes, I was finally able to get it on. But you need 2 hands to do this, so I'll meet you guys at the last part. Also wanted to mention as well that both of these exhausts got brand new foam tape on them as well. So we'll put the fan chamber back on. It's kind of hard to do all of this one-handed. A little bit of meandering later. Got it down and in place. So now is the easy part. Just grab your 2 Phillips screws. And throw those in. One thing you do want to be careful of is when you're going back in with these, try not to use a drill unless it has a clutch setting, because because even though parts are cheap for these, and they could be had at really any, even industrial supply stores, such as Granger or whoever else, I've seen them carry this stuff before. But you want to be really careful because that plastic can crack and break. So as long as you're ginger with it, you'll be okay. So I just took the end caps on both sides off, cleaned out the undersides and around the visible part of the bearing on each side, and then dropped a little 3-in-1 oil. I don't know if it penetrated. I don't know if any of that oil got into the actual bearing itself, but the bearings in this thing sound pretty good, so I'm not really worried about them. I have not checked to see how much new bearings cost. I do know that you can rebuild these brush rolls. It's not all that difficult to do so, so I might just do that. So, need to put the camera down, but when you guys see me clip back in, the belt will be on, and that bottom plate will be on as well. Bottom plate's on, everything looks good, but this wheel is not wanting to spin like that one. So I'm going to take the axle off, see if I can clean that out a bit, and go from there. Much better. So here it is all serviced. This clip that you guys are seeing right now is actually being done about maybe a week or two after the initial service video of this. And I just realized I did not finish that video with the proper ending. Overall, this thing came out pretty good. One of the unfortunate problems with the direct air machines or dirty air machines is stuff like kapok or cotton hair does not jive really well with the fan on these, and I've had the same issues with my Kirby picking up hair. If you pick up too much of it at once, it clogs up the fan and fries the belt. So I've had that happen on a Kirby, I've had it happen on the Sanitaires. It's just an annoyance, and that's one of my main issues that I have with these things. But other than that, let's go ahead and turn it on real quick so you guys can hear her run. Vibrates the floor really well. So unfortunately, this machine does have a little bit of rust spots on it. I'm not able to get those out, and I don't know how well you guys can see that, but you can see it a little bit there. But definitely looks a lot better than it did when I first got it. When I first got this, it was just really dirty and just needed a quick service. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video on this thing. Stay tuned for more.